there is certainly, what is the war objective, right? Why do we fight wars is something that either side will have to determine, and that will make the decision in terms of whether we will proceed down this terrible road that none of us want to see, but if we are forced to do it, I'm sure India will give a befitting response to Pakistan. I've always believed the general has overreached himself. He has overreached himself in this particular instance. He has done the kind of things. You're looking at some breaking news.
The two Pakistan fighter jets brought down, Gaurav. One of them is in Jaisalmer. NSA Doval meeting meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Remember, the NSA, we were told, has also been speaking to his counterpart in Pakistan, not confirmed, but there has been some attempt at some back channel. But the very fact in the last 2 hours we've seen the escalation is clearly that the dialogue or any effort at trying to bring down the temperature has not worked. If anything, Pakistan's gone up an escalatory spiral, and therefore the NSA briefing Prime Minister Modi at the moment on the current situation. Gaurav.
I just have a quick word on this, that I think you also have to watch, apart from the Americans, what the Chinese would be saying. That's very critical, because if you have to have powers that can come in and start cooling things down, China is a very important component, because Pakistan is highly dependent on China for all its equipment. I think 80% of its equipment comes from it. And in this whole drone war that we're talking about, or electronic warfare, it is China that has actually given somewhat of a push to Pakistan, one would say an edge when it comes to some of these things. Of course, we have edges. We have our strong points on various other fronts. As I mentioned earlier, we are very confident that we'll tackle it.
Gaurav, what are India's options at the moment, given what you saw happen this morning when India went as far as Lahore, Rawalpindi with its drone attacks? What could happen now?
So Rajdeep, if you look at the escalation ladder and the spiral, and if you look at what's been happening on ground, if we were to look at it from a very cold, calculated view, India's on top of the escalation ladder every time, everywhere. What have we done? We have hit the evil of terror in its backyard or in its bedroom, which is Rawalpindi, which is General Headquarters, which is Muridke in Lahore, which is 4 Corps Headquarters, in Bahawalpur, which is 31 Corps Headquarters. Terror has been hit at source, something that Raj, Sandeep and I and a lot of defense reporters have been seeking for decades. Pakistan terror has bled us since 1993. You've known Mumbai blast, 257 innocent people were massacred by Pakistan that time, and since then we've been bleeding. This is the first time terror has been hit at source. What could Pakistan do? It launched 15 attacks. Did it succeed? It failed. We went and hit their air defense system and destroyed it. Then it's launched another attack. Did it succeed? It's lost to one F-16, one GF-17 and more. But that's a lot of, if I may, they're still trying. We are still on top. They may try more. We will still remain on top. And we wargamed this to, there are 44 rungs of the escalation ladder. India remains on top throughout, Rajdeep.
So there could be, of course, more Indian retaliation from what you're saying to what we've seen from Pakistan in the last couple of hours.
And he cannot sustain it. Pakistan cannot sustain it, Rajdeep. They don't have money. They don't have weapons to sustain a war that goes beyond weeks.
Of course, we've got to see what the Chinese do in this context. What Raj Chengappa said is significant. Remember, there are concerns about what role China intends to play in the region. We are in turbulent times. A lot of people are asking one question: how long will they last? Most viewers, the single question that most average Indian viewers are, how long will this carry on? The answer, Gaurav?
Well,
do we have an answer?
Know. If Pakistan wakes up tomorrow, it stops tomorrow. It is for Pakistan to wake up. If Pakistan doesn't wake up, then we will continue to try and wake Pakistan up.
If you look at history, either side, in any of these, if you have to stop it, either side has to feel they've won something. So if you look at Balakot, Pakistan felt it had struck back by bringing a squadron over there and dropping ammunition to give a signal, then shooting down an Indian aircraft. We said we had struck Balakot, and everybody
So we need a draw, actually, in a sense. That's what Pakistan...
That each one feels
or everyone is able to give their
domestic constituency.
Because there are key domestic constituencies here. But let's go back to our reporters on the ground. Kamaljeet Sandhu also now joining us. Sunilji Bhatt, I can see out of that dark bunker that you seem to be in a little while, seem a little safer with your bulletproof jacket. I'll come to you, Sunilji, first, and then to Kamal. Sunil, what are you seeing around you? What are you picking up in Jammu?
Rajdeep, I am right now outside Jammu University. There were reports that 2 Pakistani drones have been shot down here near Jammu University. You can see the doors are locked here, and the university has been shut. And there is panic across Jammu city. There was complete blackout in Jammu city for almost an hour ago, and it lasted for an hour, but partially electricity supply has been restored in some areas, but people are in panic and people are confining themselves to their homes. People in Jammu city had not expected that there will be strikes here in Jammu city. There have been occasions when Pakistan has resorted to shelling in the border areas, be it Araspura sector, Arnia sector in Jammu district. But it's for after a very long time that bomb sirens were heard in Jammu city and people were in panic. There was total blackout in Jammu city, and people are confining themselves to their homes. People who were out, there were civil defense volunteers who advised them that they should go to safer areas. There was an desperate attempt from Pakistan to target vital installations in Jammu and Kashmir, but our air defense system has successfully foiled all attempts of Pakistan to target the vital installations in and around Jammu. There are reports that Pakistan has resorted to heavy shelling along the India-Pakistan international border in Samba district, in Kathua district. There are civilian bunkers near the border areas, and people were already prepared for such a situation. They have taken shelters in bomb shelters, and people who are affected in border areas where there has been Pakistani shelling for last more than 15 days. Civil administration has already evacuated most people. Their relief camps have been set up where all kind of facilities are being provided to the people there. These are very difficult times, and everyone has to work in close coordination, be it civil society, administration, government, politicians. Everyone has to work shoulder to shoulder. It's not just the responsibility of the security forces. We as citizens also need to be cautious, alert, and we should extend helping hand to each other, and that is the only way we can save ourselves in these difficult times. Rajdeep.
Kamaljeet Sandhu, what are you picking up?
Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, and what we saw was a drone attack in Pakistan today. It seems a retaliation is coming from the Pakistani army with a swarm drone attack. Now this is actually right from Punch Rajouri onwards till up to Jammu and further to Pathankot and several parts of Punjab, which has seen drone activity now. But let me tell you, I've spoken to top officials, there's no loss of life, but there is obviously an attempt to create chaos. The entire attempt has been, the skies have been lit, especially with all those drones coming in, several of them now being neutralized across several sectors in Jammu and Kashmir and in Punjab. But the signaling is very clear from Pakistan. Remember, India has already said that they would not want to escalate, but meanwhile what we see is there has been an escalation by Pakistan. Just as the night has crept in, so has the attack coming in from Pakistani drones. But remember, no loss of life, no casualties as of now. But that could only be the silver lining. Meanwhile, it seems there is an effort to have this anti-drone strategic efforts to put in place, and obviously they're being dealt with very, very effectively. But a precautionary on ground, even in Rajouri where we're standing, where we saw a swarm of drones, there is a total blackout of sorts. This is a precautionary measure. The place where we're standing outside, but yes, because we have to put the light on, we've come inside. But clearly there is a strong messaging both from India and Pakistan at this point of time. Where is this going to stop? This is an escalation by Pakistan. Now what we'll hear is a response from India shortly, but clearly multiple cities under drone sort of an attack. But again, let me reiterate, no loss of life reported at this point of time, no casualties. So it does look a lot more symbolic as such. But clearly, by use of artillery fire, at least on the borders, it seems there's an indication that they do not want any further response. But Pakistan has taken it as a challenge by whatever Indian forces did to them, especially in Rawalpindi, where the Pakistani army headquarters is based. So a whole lot of defense systems were neutralized. But now Pakistan has come back with a sinister plan of sorts. Remember, it is going to be retorted back very, very sharply. But at this point of time, the night seems rather uncertain. Most people can only just remain in the dark as well as keep their communication lines open.
Kamaljeet Sandhu there with us. All our reporters have spread out to each of the places. We are not giving their locations. All of them are at the moment in a deferred live situation. Joining us with reports that they are putting together from earlier. Anmol Bali is also there at the moment. Anmol, can you hear me?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, Rajnath, I can hear you.
What, I wanted to get a sense from you. You seem to be in an area total blackout. Is the blackout still there in large parts of where you are?
Rajdeep, currently I am here in Pathankot. It was seen that around 9 in the night, people here in Pathankot heard series of blasts, and currently I am standing few steps away from the Pathankot airbase, which became the epicenter of Pakistan attack. But yes, our air defense system has neutralized various of the missiles targeted towards the airbase, and currently also we are hearing, as you have heard, Rajdeep, as you have heard, you can hear the blast. You can hear the blast coming from the airbase in Pathankot. Rajdeep, have you heard that?
Yeah, that was. You know, those are images, as I said, deferred images that we are getting. Anmol will come to you in a moment. Remember, Pathankot significant also because this also happened within a month of Prime Minister Modi meeting Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif in December. We had the attack on the Pathankot airbase in January of 2016. So Pathankot significant, again, areas close to the international border. Pakistan has targeted them today. India has given a befitting response. Mir Farid joining us. Srinagar on high alert, large parts. Electricity cut off is what you told us when we last spoke to you. Mir Farid.
Yes, Rajdeep. Electricity has been cut off, and we've been told that it is a precautionary measure. Also, schools sending messages that they remain closed for the time being. And we also getting reports from various parts where blasts have been heard. Latest I can share with you is that in South Kashmir, Khandru, we know it's a big weapons depot. There, anti-aircraft guns have been activated. They have fired some rounds because there was drone movement detected. Then again, in Avantipura, we've been told that some drones have been sighted. There again, anti-aircraft guns and other ammunition has been used. So it's overall, if we talk of multiple places across, they have been activated. They have seen escalation. We've also been told, and our sources say that there has been some retaliation from the Indian side. Some missiles have been fired towards Pakistan. So already, if we talk of this particular attack, retaliation has started. And while damage assessment is something that we'll have to wait for, obviously, as of now, no reports of any casualties. But again, this is a dynamic situation. There are blasts that are happening even as I speak to you in various parts. And it is like various frontiers which were silent even from the last 7-8 days have been activated by Pakistan. Places like Gurez have seen anti-aircraft guns or drones being fired at by the Indian Army. Similar drone sightings in Gulmarg. And as I said, Srinagar Airport, which is a very sensitive strategic airport, is on highest alert, and they're activated their batteries because there were reports that there could be drones headed towards Srinagar Airport
And
as well.
Even as you're speaking, we are getting fresh reports. India hits back at Pakistan, firing fresh missiles at Pakistan. Gaurav, just to get a sense, neither side has crossed, presumably, each other's airspace as of now. These are missiles being fired by the two sides using their long-range missiles or using drones, but remaining within each other's territory. Am I correct?
Rajdeep, this is the new nature of warfare that is being fought between India and Pakistan, two nuclear weapon states, because this is a way where you can, should there be a requirement, contain it, control it, and de-escalate. And India every day is making that statement that the onus is on Pakistan. India is responding to everything that Pakistan does. Day one, Pakistan targeted Pahalgam, so India responded. Even right now, when Pakistan is escalating and Pakistan's air raid warnings, India has fired missiles at Pakistan, would be to take down three things. One, If they've targeted our airbase, their airbase goes. If they've targeted any of our vital assets and vital points, their vital assets and vital points go. There maybe in one case, if they target one, we target two because we are far superior. And no, Rajdeep, I completely disagree that this is a game where two sides are playing for a draw. India is playing to win. And this is a very decisive situation where India wants to send across that message that Pakistan is a very tiny state. It is a nuclear weapon state, but a tiny nuclear weapon state that has to be put in its place, and it will be, Rajdeep, because it's not just militarily, it's also economically, diplomatically, in every way. India is far superior. That permitted Pakistan for very long to punch far above its weight. So its generals have to be cut to size, its diplomats, its civil society, all of them who think they're equal to India have to be cut down to size.
We're getting more breaking news. As Pakistan air warning system has been shot in Pakistan, Punjab. Pakistan Air Force AWACS have been shot down. India has fired fresh missiles at Pakistan. And the important news that we got you a little while ago, 2 JF-17s, which are Chinese-made, 1 F-16 has been shot down by India. Therefore, a total of 3 Pakistani fighter jets have been brought down by India. Remember, Pakistan has been claiming, including its Prime Minister, that they've shot down 5 Indian jets. No confirmation, no evidence provided of that. But India today, sources now confirming that 3 Pakistani fighter jets have been brought down by India. And at least Pakistan is confirming that 2 of them indeed have been brought down. So 3 Pakistani...
It's a huge setback if an AWACS, that Saab 2000, it's an airborne early warning command and control system. There is no equality, Rajdeep. See what is happening on ground. If an AWACS has been brought down, it just shows it's an airborne early warning command and control system. If that has been brought down, it just shows, one, tactically Pakistan is weaker, militarily Pakistan is weaker. If it cannot protect its AWACS, and AWACS doesn't fly in isolation, and AWACS has a package that is protecting it, it has multiple fighter jets that protect it. If an AWACS has been brought down, it's a huge loss for Pakistan.
I'm getting another piece of breaking news in Rajouri. There has been a terror attack, a suicide attack. Pakistan, remember, has consistently attempted to use terror as a weapon in such situations. So the news we are getting is in Rajouri, there has been an attempted suicide terror attack. Suicide attack on an army installation in Jammu and Kashmir. We'll get more details on that.
India has hit Lahore. India has hit Lahore. This is what Pakistan does not realize, what India intends to do. Hit terror at source. And if Lahore has been hit, Rajdeep, we will just wait to see what has been hit. Is it 4 core? Because clearly, Rajdeep, you know, when people think India plays for a draw, no, this is a different India. It does not play for a draw. It sends across a message. Military jihad complex will be punished. If Lahore has been hit, it's the nerve center of Pakistan and Pakistan's Punjab. That Pakistani Punjabi Musalman mindset is being targeted, Rajdeep. That's exactly what is happening. AWACS down, JF-17 down, Lahore hit.
Let's get more details of India hitting Lahore. Remember, Lahore is the heart of Pakistan, Punjab. That is the city where Pakistani power comes from, both the military power and its political power. India's counterattack in Lahore. Remember, this morning, India claimed that they had, and India reinforced the fact that Pakistan's Lahore air defense systems had been neutralized. Missiles and drones had been used to target Lahore's air defense systems, and they had been totally neutralized. So India's response has been clear. You hit us in Jammu, we will hit you right in your heartland. And that is the danger that Pakistan has. They can try to hit us in Jammu or Jaisalmer, which are close to the border. We can go right into the heartland of Pakistan, because the counter-attack in Lahore sends a clear message that Pakistan, Punjab, we saw it earlier this morning, Sialkot, Rawalpindi and Lahore were hit by missiles and drones. And Pakistan had very little response to it. So while India today has brought down 3 Pakistani jets in their attempt to target Jammu and Jaisalmer, India has gone a step further, gone and hit Lahore, which is the heart of Pakistan, Punjab.
India, Rajdeep, if I may, India had hit Lahore just 2 days ago, even in Muridke. Muridke is on the outskirts of Lahore, the headquarters of Lashkar-e-Taiba.
Those were very different, because those were hitting Bahawalpur and Muridke, which were terror bases of the Jaish and the Lashkar.
That's right.
And India made it very clear then, we are hitting terror infrastructure,
That's right.
not military installations. What we are now seeing is after Pakistan strikes on attempted strikes on India, India has hit back on presumably equivalent targets in Lahore. Now, what those targets are, we'll wait and see. But India hitting Lahore, counter-attack in Lahore, is a clear message that the government of India is not going to stand by to watch what Pakistan does. This is clear retaliatory action. Important to use the word retaliatory, which India has made it very clear that this escalatory spiral was started by Pakistan
External Affairs Minister,
with Pahalgam.
Yes, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar saying any action by Pakistan will be met with a firm response. And Rajdeep, this is a very significant point. To hit Lahore would require political clearance. And this is where Narendra Modi government, Rajdeep, is very different from any government in the past, even if it was an Atal Bihari Vajpayee who said that your aircraft will not go across. Here, Balakot, your aircraft went across. Right now, your missiles and your drones and your systems are hitting across and hard, Rajdeep.
Okay, let's get exactly what Dr. S. Jaishankar has said. He said, I've spoken with US Secretary Rubio. Remember, he's also National Security Advisor, Rubio at the moment. Deeply appreciate US commitment to work with India in the fight against terrorism. Underlined India's targeted and measured response. And these are important words. Targeted and measured response to cross-border terrorism. We will firmly counter any attempts at escalation. So what you've got is Pakistan provoking India to push up the escalatory ladder. India making it very clear that we have targeted and measured response to cross-border terrorism. If you hit Jammu, we will hit Lahore. And therefore, the costs for Pakistan are that much greater because Lahore, as I keep repeating, is the heartland of Pakistan. It's the heartland of Pakistan's Punjab. When you hit Lahore, you're really hitting the jugular vein, if I may use the word that was used by General Munir, of Pakistan. And therefore, Pakistan has been sent a firm warning, a counter-attack. All of this happening in the last couple of hours. I think the one concern is just how fast things are happening. When you go up an escalatory spiral, when it happens in a couple of hours, then coming down is not so easy. But when Pakistan struck Jammu today, despite warnings by India that they were not into an escalatory battle, they have effectively given a red rag to India. India has struck back and hit Lahore. Remember, all of this also comes on the backdrop of NSA Ajit Doval meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi a short while ago with a complete briefing. Secretary of State of the United States, Marco Rubio, spoken to Dr. Jaishankar. But as Dr. Jaishankar's responses said, we will firmly counter any attempts at escalation. But that does not mean that India does not reserve, and these are my words, India does not reserve the right to retaliate. So Pakistan escalation will get a firm response is the message that India has sent. Now, whether that message reaches GHQ in Rawalpindi is clear. Remember, earlier today, India had hit Lahore's missile systems. Those defense systems had been neutralized.
And you know, Rajdeep, if I may, if the Pakistanis had understood how India would react, the moment your air defense system has been hit, you know you're vulnerable, you don't have a shield, you do not escalate. A sane military mind would not have escalated, but Pakistan is not a sane military mind. Their army chief Asim Munir, he escalated, he hit Jammu, perhaps thinking that India will respond either in Sialkot or somewhere in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. But that is not how India is thinking. India is thinking to quickly put Pakistan in its place, or that military jihad complex in its place. And that's exactly what you do. You hit where Pakistan is most vulnerable, and Lahore, without an air defense shield, is where they're vulnerable. Their AWACS has gone down. And why, Rajdeep, did they bring their AWACS up? Because they don't have radars on ground. Just understand, military is science. It is a scientific operation. This is how you bring your enemy in to a place, what is called a kill zone. You brought the AWACS into a kill zone and killed it there.
You're seeing the images that are playing out on your screen at the moment. Those are deferred images that you're seeing. Pakistan air warning systems have been hit in Punjab. Pakistan escalation will get a firm response is Dr. Jaishankar's comment. So clearly Pakistan now finds itself on the defensive because it is Pakistan. And this point was reiterated importantly by the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri in a press briefing. Pakistan began the escalatory spiral with what it happened in Pahalgam when innocent civilians were targeted in the manner that they were by the Pakistani-based jihadi factory. So in that sense, Pakistan now getting a sense, you hit us, whether it's Jaisalmer or Jammu, we will come into your heartland. Now, will that be enough to make General Munir see reason to be rational about what we are seeing around us is the key to what happens next. Pakistan must recognize now that they cannot get away by constantly going on this escalatory ladder without expecting more kinetic action from India.
Absolutely. Rajdeep, if I may, India's actions aren't just kinetic. India has also released water from the Salal Dam exactly at 5 o'clock in the evening. That water will be reaching Pakistan and some of those areas in Pakistan closer to midnight, which is what would make Pakistan's operations even more difficult. Even the civilian areas would be inundated in a while from now. So there are kinetic measures, there are non-kinetic measures that India is taking. That's point one. Point two, Indus Waters Treaty being held in abeyance was a signal that was going out to Pakistan. Stop terror if you want water. Water is not being weaponized to stop it. India will only harness the entire amount of water that we are entitled to. Lahore being hit is like, you know, when Sri Ram had to kill Ravan, Ravan was hit in his navel. That is how you destroy evil. Pakistan has to be targeted in Pakistan's Punjab province when you want to destroy that evil of radical Islamist terror and that military jihad complex. And India is hitting Pakistan in Lahore, in Bahawalpur, in Murid ke Rajdeep.
We'll go back to our correspondents in a moment. Sunilji Bhatt is still with us. Sunilji, you're hearing that within an hour or within 2 hours of Pakistan striking at Jammu or attempting to strike at the Jammu air base and areas around it, including civilian areas, and that distinction needs to be drawn. India has hit Lahore. I want to get a sense from you in Jammu at the moment. Has an element of calm returned? People feel, have the explosions that you heard till a few minutes ago, have they stopped?
Rajdeep, I have spoken to people from different localities in Jammu city, and most of them are saying that power supply has been restored. However, power supply remains cut off in some areas. It's being done as a precautionary measure. People are heaving a sigh of relief because electricity supply has been restored in most areas, and people believe that it's a good sign that that now things are getting back to normal here. But it's going to be a very long night because even now we are hearing bomb sirens in many parts of Jammu region. In Jammu city, situation remains very sensitive. Uneasy calm prevails in many areas, and civil defense volunteers are out in the streets. They are going to each and every locality, appealing to people that they must stay safe, they must be alert, and at the same time they should not lose patience. They should remain calm, and there is nothing to worry. Security forces are doing their job.
I'm just going to stop you for a moment, Sunilji. But the big news, of course, that's coming in is that India has struck at Lahore. Indian missile system, we don't know where in Lahore, but India has hit Lahore in response, and that's important to underline, in response to what Pakistan attempted a couple of hours ago. Meanwhile, news coming in at the moment that the US NSA and Secretary of State Marco Rubio has now spoken to Shahbaz Sharif, Pakistan's Prime Minister. Earlier, remember, Rubio spoke to India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar. Now, Shahbaz Sharif is from Punjab. When this attack takes place in Lahore, it's right in the heart of where Shahbaz Sharif, who was formerly, remember, before becoming Prime Minister, Punjab's Chief Minister, Pakistan, Punjab's Chief Minister.
And his daughter is the...
and his daughter, Maryam Sharif, Nawaz Sharif's daughter. Nawaz Sharif's daughter, Maryam Nawaz Sharif, is the Chief Minister of Punjab. But India India, by striking in the heart of Pakistan, has sent a very powerful signal this evening. And following that, you are now hearing news that Marco Rubio has spoken to Prime Minister Sharif. But the question is, does the Prime Minister of Pakistan or the civilian leadership have it in it to tell the Pakistan army that we need to pull back, we need to restrain ourselves? That is the big question mark. And in the past, we've seen that the army simply has never listened to the civilian leadership. We can go back to Kargil as well, where Parvez Musharraf ran his own agenda. Nawaz Sharif at that moment found himself completely marginalized. 26 years later, Shahbaz Sharif is going to now have to walk the talk. If Shahbaz Sharif wants to assert any authority, he must realize that India has hit Lahore. This cannot go on for Pakistan. So therefore, Pakistan will have to take a choice of what it wants in the next 24 hours.
You know, Rajdeep, if I may just slightly disagree with you on this aspect, Nawaz Sharif was ordered by Parvez Musharraf after his men started dying on the Kargil Heights to run to America and save Pakistani lives, because he realized Parvez Musharraf got into the Kargil war. He did not have an exit plan. Similarly, Asim Munir got into the Pahalgam plan. He does not have an exit plan. So now he will put Shahbaz Sharif in front and say, please agree to a surrender, like Nawaz Sharif agreed to a surrender and a ceasefire, and then save the Pakistan army. This is history repeating itself. I covered the Kargil war on ground. I interacted with the leadership even that time. I'm interacting even now. And this is exactly what will happen. Shahbaz Sharif will then say, okay, we want peace. And then Asim Munir will back down. And maybe after some time, he'll take over power.
But at the moment, they're going to have to walk the talk. The fact is that General Asim Munir is the one who has to answer for this escalation.
Yes.
And therefore, whatever happens from now, more than speaking to Shahbaz Sharif, at some stage, the Americans will have to ensure that the army leadership also falls in line in Pakistan.
And Rajdeep, that is why they've appointed DG ISI as the National Security Advisor. So next, Marco Rubio will probably be speaking to General Asim Malik, who's Pakistan's National Security Advisor, and DG ISI, and very close to General Asim Munir. So that is how the power structure works. They do not trust a Shahbaz Sharif or an Ishaq Dar, who's the Deputy Prime Minister, who's completely powerless. Even Shahbaz Sharif, Rajdeep, as you know better, in Pakistani proper Punjab is referred to as boot polish, or someone who serves the Pakistan army.
This morning, there was a targeted attack on Lahore by India, very specific targeted attack on their air defense systems. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
And those air defense systems were neutralized. Therefore, now, given what Pakistan did a couple of hours ago, targeting Jammu, targeting Jaisalmer airport, drones being put across different parts of the valley, artillery fire continuing from across the LOC, how does India respond specifically to Lahore? Yesterday it was significant. It was Sialkot, Rawalpindi and Lahore. 3 cities which are at the heart of Punjab. Rawalpindi is significant because it's the GHQ headquarters. Lahore because it is in a sense, the political capital of Punjab. And Sialkot, where remember a number of the terror camps have also existed. So given what was done this morning, now India hitting Lahore, what is the significance?
So Lahore is also the 4 Corps headquarters. Lahore is a very important nerve center, as you very rightly pointed out, Rajdeep, of Pakistani political life. And if I may, proper Punjab is what runs Pakistan. You know, when Balakot happened, it did not hurt Pakistan's military jihad network because they were being hit in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, which they treat as a second-class citizen. Had they been hit in Baluchistan, it does not hurt them. That's because they only milk Baluchistan. Had they been hit in Sindh, they would have probably said Muhajirs and Sindhis have been killed. When you are hit in Pakistan's Punjab, which is what provides the backbone of the Pakistan army, this hurts Pakistan. And this is exactly what the Narendra Modi government is doing, hitting Pakistani's military jihad complex in its backbone, breaking the backbone. And Rajdeep, as you very rightly pointed out, it is hitting the jugular of the Pakistani military jihad network. Lashkar-e-Taiba is in Punjab province of Pakistan. Jaish-e-Mohammed is in Punjab province of Pakistan. And you have Pakistan Army, its 4 Corps, which is in Lahore. 31 Corps is in Bahawalpur. 10 Corps is in Mangla. So all of this, their entire army is around, Rawalpindi, Islamabad. All of that are areas that India has in its cross crosshairs should Pakistan escalate further. Lahore being hit is punitive strikes on the military jihad infrastructure in Pakistan, Rajdeep.
We'll wait and see how Pakistan responds to that. We'll wait and see what specific targets have been hit in Lahore. Those operational details, of course, will come out at a much later date. Probably some stage tomorrow we'll get a real sense of what has happened. But the message is loud and clear. You strike us in Jammu and Jaisalmer and parts of the valley, we will come right into your heartland. And that's really a message that India is reinforcing both this morning when they went to Sialkot, Rawalpindi and Lahore, and what they are reinforcing at the moment. I want to go to Mir Farid and Amit Bhardwaj, both of whom are joining me at the moment. Gentlemen, it's been a long night. At the moment, Mir Farid in Srinagar, is there an element of uneasy calm?
Absolutely, Rajdeep. In fact, it's pitch dark. Electricity has been cut off, and I can also share with you that the Education Minister has ordered that all schools in Jammu and Kashmir will remain closed tomorrow. So all those things happening, people are very uncertain. I'm getting calls, messages. People want to know what has happened. There are a lot of fake news on social media, a lot of propaganda, and that's also keeping people on the edge. Though, as far as the government is concerned, they have told people to be very careful about this particular propaganda and ensure that they take that news, cross-check, and then only believe, do not believe on rumors. But across Kashmir, as we have been reporting, LOC is hot. Very heavy RT fire across the LOC areas, starting from Kupara right to Baramulla, then to Jammu on the other side as far as Rajouri Poonch is concerned. And then this is escalation at multiple levels. And then we also got reports that in South Kashmir, there have been attempts to target some ammunition depots of the army, which have been repulsed, anti-aircraft guns used. So it seems that it was a very well-planned attack where they wanted to escalate simultaneously at various sectors through various means of ammunition, starting from rockets, drones to RT fire. So it was clearly a retaliation, but so far, luckily, there has been no major news of any casualty, though it's still early times. There will be evaluation. They would be trying to find out the kind of damage, but no reports of any casualty. Some injuries, yes, but that really is the good news coming out of this. No casualties, Rajdeep.
Okay, let's go to Shivani Sharma, our correspondent who also joins us. Shivani, what are you picking up?
Rajdeep, the shelling out here where we are reporting from can be heard, and this has been over an hour when this shelling started in the Uri sector, and this is heavy shelling that's happening, and the interval of the shelling is also quite frequent. So this is how Pakistan is now escalating along the line of control, where we were reporting that in last 2 nights also there was heavy artillery fire, but the timing of that fire used to be after 12 p.m. around 1 and till the wee hours in the morning. But now the heavy shelling has started around 9 o'clock right after when Jammu was attacked and the attack was thwarted. So this area also remains in complete blackout. We are getting developments every minute about what's happening. Pakistan continues to escalate. It is trying to approach on the borders along the line of control with heavy artillery firing, not only in Jammu and Kashmir, Rajdeep, but also on the western sector in Rajasthan, as we were reporting about. There was heavy shelling in Jaisalmer, as well as the drones were seen that were neutralized there. Multiple locations on the western sector, not only Jammu, but in Rajasthan and Punjab also there are inputs that the drones were activated by Pakistan. They all have been neutralized. 8 places in Jammu where drones were activated, they all have been neutralized. There are no report of any casualty so far. The situation is emerging, high alerts on the borders. And even when I'm speaking, I can hear these RT shells being fired along the line of control. The villages have already been evacuated that lie in the range of this artillery shelling, because in last 2 days we lost 16 people in Poonch and Tangdar alone, Rajdeep. So multiple air assets are activated. They are active. The air defense systems are active. There is a multiple layer of all these air defense systems that are working right now on high alert, vigilant, monitoring the skies on the western borders. Complete blackout to be as a part of caution in this area where we are reporting from right now. But though we have not witnessed any air activity, apart from the shelling that continues.
Right. Thanks very much, Shivani Sharma, for joining us at that moment. Shivani, of course, tracks the Defense Ministry very closely. India moving in what can be best described as a very calibrated response. Pakistan responds in a particular way. India ensuring that the response as of now remains calibrated. So you're in an escalatory spiral, but without getting into a situation that spirals out of control. That seems to be the reflection. Meanwhile, Marco Rubio, as we said, spoke to Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shahbaz Sharif, a little while ago. We are also being told that airports are on high alert across the country. So security being beefed up at airports across the country at this moment. Airports being put on high alert and being beefed up across the country. The IPL also, now we are told a BCCI meeting will be held. The match today in Dharamshala was called off, but there is now the real possibility that the IPL itself, there is a huge question mark whether there will be any more matches if the situation remains tense in the next few days. So lots of question marks now exist. All passengers to undergo extra security checks with the airports being placed on high alert across the country. But the big news, of course, is that India has used its missiles to strike Lahore. Remember, all of this also on the backdrop of 2 JF-17s and 1 F-16 being shot down by India.
And
Pakistan air warning systems being hit in Punjab. All Indian airports are on high alert. That's the breaking news that we are getting at the moment from across the country. Visitor entry at terminals being banned. Gaurav's going to take over and take this forward right through the night, because it's going to be a long night where there will be plenty of news that you can get. We've got a large team of reporters that have spread to every corner of the key areas, and they'll bring you more news in a moment. Gaurav.
And Rajdeep, the fact that a Pakistani AWACS has been downed is very significant. It's an airborne platform. It's a huge aircraft, which is an airborne early warning command and control system. When that is taken down, something that's protected by multiple fighter jets and aircraft, it just goes on to indicate how vulnerable Pakistan is in the skies. And that question then once again comes, Rajdeep, whether Pakistan had wargamed this enough. If it is losing its ground radar system, its air defense shield in Lahore, which is Pakistan's best protected city. Punjab is Pakistan's best protected province. If that is so vulnerable, if an AWACS has been downed in over Pakistan's Punjab province, if their fighter jets are falling like flies as they try to enter Indian territory, we are told we have some locations, but we will wait for Government of India to officially announce this since live military operations and the operation is still underway, because Pakistani drones, missiles and their fighter jets, because this is grave escalation. Grave escalation by Pakistan when it sends in its F-16s and JF-17 Thunders into Indian territory or close to Indian territory, that they are shot down. This would indicate that Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir is gambling. It's a very dangerous game that Asim Munir is playing, and clearly at every stage he's being called out. That representative image that you see is India's Sudarshan Chakra, the S-400 air defense system that has so far destroyed every incoming threat, including, we are told, the JF-17s and, according to reports, 1 F-16. Now, if I explain this to you for the benefit of our viewers, the Pakistanis did not wargame India having the Rafales, the Su-30 MKIs, the Mirage 2000s, the AWACS that we have, the S-400 system, and they are all integrated. When your entire system is integrated, you have like 1,000 eyes in the sky, and they look. Big story coming in. A Pakistani Air Force pilot has been captured in India, and we are told, I can give you the location, and that's the information that had come to me just a short while back, but we will give you the location only when it's officially announced by Government of India. It's an injured Pakistani Air Force pilot who's been captured. When that information was then, there's some more information that's coming in, but we shall wait for that information to officially come through the government if and when it comes As of now, we're told we will go exactly by what is officially being released either from our side or information that is filtering in through our reporters. And India Today has the biggest team of reporters on ground, getting you a 360-degree perspective on this story. I have Shivani Sharma joining me from a very sensitive location. Kamaljeet Kaur Sandhu is again at a very sensitive location, and that is why we are not giving out the location of our reporters. Amit Bharadwaj also joins me from somewhere in that northern part of our country, which is actually right now punishing Pakistan or Pakistan's military jihad complex. And Shivani, to you first, I hope you are safe where you are. I hope you're in a position to tell us, without compromising any operational details, the situation and what you're able to pick up.
Gaurav, we all are in the middle of an operation that goes on, a military operation that goes on, where along the line of control there is heavy shelling that continues, and from where I am reporting, I can clearly hear these shelling sounds. That means it's quite close from where I'm reporting, and this continues not only in this particular area where I'm reporting from, in the Uri sector, but also in the Poonch sector, the Tangdhar sector, and all the other western borders where the ceasefire violations have continued for last 14 days. But since past 3 days, we are witnessing heavy shelling, continuous heavy shelling. I can hear, even I can speak. So every 30 seconds that shell is coming. So you can imagine the intensity of that shell that is being fired from the Pakistani post, the artillery shelling that goes on. And army has been responding proportionately to these artillery gunfires by the Pakistani army. And let's tell our viewers that there were the reports of houses being damaged, 16 lives lost in last night shelling in Poonch area, and all those villages were evacuated today. We have been reporting about these people being taken to the safe places. That means the Indian army was well prepared. It was on a high alert. It has been monitoring the whole escalation that Pakistan is going ahead with, and there are inputs of certain air assets also of Pakistan that have been neutralized, except the drones that have been intercepted. No damage has been reported. No casualty has been reported as of now, Gaurav.
Shivani,
that's what we are learning from the sources.
Stay with me. There's an alert across all borders in the country. Union Home Minister Amit Shah has spoken to Director Generals of Central Armed Police Forces, also of the Border Security Force. He's also speaking to other top commanders on ground when it comes to internal security, to ensure that the internal security grid is very strong. Kamaljeet Kaur Sandhu, who covered internal security for us at the Ministry of Home Affairs for a very long time, continues to cover internal security and defense, joins us on this broadcast. Kamal, give us details about the critical role that's played by BSF, the CISF, which protects our industrial assets, because this is where subversion and sabotage could be huge to target India's capabilities in these very crucial times, Kamal.
Well, the multiple attacks itself shows that they wanted to create chaos and confusion in India, and that is why. And as Shivani was saying, there's no casualty, there is no injury reported as of now, which means it's more of a symbolic attack as such. But definitely the way attack has been done, it's very clear it is to create confusion and panic. But meanwhile, the sort of swarm drones that we've seen, now they have not been so effective because one, the reason is that India has fended them off very, very well. And second is the sort of deployment which was done. And as you're talking about, it's not just the Indian Army, it's also the RR, it's also Jammu Kashmir Police, it's also Punjab Police, it's also the CAPF, including the BSF. Now what we know is there was input coming in that not only would Pakistan retaliate in a manner like that, but also that there could be non-state actors like Jaish-e-Mohammed or Lashkar-e-Taiba. Remember, there are at least 140 terrorists which are still inside Jammu and Kashmir, and they're active. So there is obviously one set of intelligence which says that there's credible information that these can be activated in the next couple of days. But clearly, as far as India is concerned, they have sent a strong message across to Pakistan. One, for the first misadventure, which was the Pahalgam attack, and second was the targeting of civilians. And then thereafter what we've seen is this particular drone attack which has taken place. So Pakistan will be taught a lesson, but this one is a big one coming in from Pakistan. It's been going on for multiple locations, multiple sightings, but the drones being neutralized in equal measure.
Stay with me, Kamal. I also want to bring in Amit Bharadwaj. There's more information coming in. Shimla, Jaisalmer, Jodhpur, multiple airports, including the one in Kulu, the Bhuntar airport, all of them are being shut down. Chandigarh airport has been shut down for civilian flights, which means all airports, Amit, clearly for military operations. And once again, it's a clear sign that India is preparing for an escalation that may come from Pakistan and to have all resources ready to be able to send across a message to Pakistan, Amit.
Right, Gaurav. You know, if you look at the list of the airports where the civilian airspace has been closed down in India, it's majorly the north of India as well as the western part of India. So clearly the borders and the airspace is being kept clear right now for our defense strategy, and that could be the best strategy at this point in time, because if you look at what Pakistan Air Force did was that, you know, they were attacking India, but they were not even ready for the counter response that was coming from the Indian side. But India seems to be, you know, dealing with every situation very strategically, and that is why in the list there have been addition of further airports. It is giving out a clear signal that Indian northern space, airspace as well as the western airspace has been cleared out for the strategic movement of our Air Force as well as the response to the cowardly attack that's coming from the Pakistani side, and we're ready to give every befitting response. Along with that, Gaurav, the security of the airports across India has been beefed up by the MOCA and the administration which handles this particular affair in the country right now. So there will be
so you meant the Ministry of Civil Aviation and
across the airports which will be functional for us.
You know, there are two aspects which I find very critical, and I want all three of you to weigh in on it. Shivani, you handle defense and you've been reporting right from the front lines. The fact that a Pakistani AWACS has been downed, an airborne early warning command and control system of Pakistan, and I believe Pakistan has two but only one operational. If that one operational AWACS has gone down, this is a huge setback for Pakistan. And if it has lost 3 fighter jets, that information that's coming in, it just means that Pakistan is in a bad position right now.
Gaurav, everybody knows the defense capabilities of Pakistan and the way the attempts were thwarted. In fact, last night at 15 places where it went into the misadventure, and yet again it has done the same thing. It's definitely going to backfire at Pakistan. We are getting a lot of inputs right now of how the damages have been inflicted to the Pakistani drones and the air assets that were pushed into action inside Indian boundary, and much damage is being reported about Pakistan, and Pakistan has already lost its air defense systems to India. Indian armed forces, they acted in the morning today after its misadventure on yesterday. So they've already lost their air defense systems. They have major headquarters in these areas. If we talk about Rawalpindi, Sialkot area, Karachi, Lahore, all these systems have been lost there. And now, once again, when the drones have been pushed inside India, India is retaliating in an appropriate manner. But we all must remember what the Foreign Secretary had said, that right now we are doing it proportionately. But if the escalation continues, we can go further and we can go all out with all our capabilities. So we need to watch the situation as it is escalating from Pakistan's side. India is
That's a very significant point. That's a very significant point you make, that India is responding proportionately. But the fact that, and you know, Shivani and Kamal, you both excellent correspondents on ground with your ear to the ground, and Amit, so are you, because the point I want to make is, you've been speaking to your sources who are actually telling you that when you talk about this escalation ladder, India is right on top of that escalation ladder. And this is where Pakistan, if it's losing its drones, if it's losing its rockets, its missiles, 3 aircraft, 1 AWACS, Kamal, that's a huge setback for Pakistan. How much pain can Pakistan endure before it sees the light of day? You know, what is the intelligence assessment? You've covered the Ministry of Home Affairs for so long. You cover a very sensitive border state of Punjab. What is Pakistan's capacity to endure such pain?
Well, one is to create chaos and confusion, but let me read out the PRO defense statement now. There is an official confirmation that the military stations at Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur were targeted by Pakistani origin drones and missiles along the international border today. The PRO further says the threats were swiftly neutralized using kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities in the line established standard operating procedures. No casualties or material losses were reported and India remains fully prepared. But let me tell you, Gaurav, as I was telling earlier, that this is an attack by swarm drones. This looks like an attempt to create chaos and confusion. Remember, as far as escalation is concerned, remember, first it was Pahalgam, then thereafter the civilians being targeted, and once there was a resounding effort by India as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned, and subsequently by the swarm drones which were really sent in, including in Rawalpindi, in the headquarters of Pakistani army. This is a retaliation all across northern India, and this is where key cities, and remember, even as far as escalation is concerned, earlier what we saw in Amritsar, in other cities like Gurdaspur, where they had attempted to send not just mortars but also smaller missiles in an attempt to disrupt not just normalcy in Jammu, Kashmir and Punjab, but this is obviously a sinister design by Pakistan. But clearly, as far as a response is concerned, this is tit for tat as far as Pakistan is concerned. But remember, more is coming in from India. This is something which has happened in the late night. This is obviously an attempt to create confusion. But as we have been saying all along, there are no casualties, there are no injuries. There's a blackout being carried out in several locations, including at the line of control where we are. Remember, we are inside, not to ensure that there is no light outside, doesn't give away location, but clearly this is upping the ante as far as Pakistan is concerned. Now, is this escalation going to be it? Especially with information coming in that one of the pilots may have been taken into custody, and this is what it guts as far as India-Pakistan is concerned. With rising tensions, what we've seen is people displaced at line of control, people in Punch being hurt, several of them being killed, but clearly this one has upped the ante, especially targeting not just defense installations in Jammu, Pathankot, Udhampur, but they've been effectively neutralized by the Indian defense system.
Oh, absolutely. You know, that bit of information that we are still waiting for an official word on is extremely sensitive. We have 3-4 bits of information that our viewers will be very interested in knowing and appreciating. I know you're all very proud of our armed forces, and our armed forces have done a great job. There's another bit of information, but I'm just waiting for it to come officially before I can share it with you. You know, Kamal's given you a hint, but we will get the official word in just a short while from now, hopefully. Fingers crossed. The military stations, now this is very significant. Pakistan has escalated yet again. That's a big, big statement that's coming in. Pakistan has escalated in Jammu. Pakistan has attempted to target Pathankot. Pakistan has attempted to target Udhampur, and Pakistani origin drones and missiles along the international border have targeted these areas today. All these threats were neutralized. They were neutralized using both kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities of India in the line with established standard operating procedures. The big thing is, and that's fortunate, no casualties have been reported, no material losses have been reported on the Indian side. India, there's a statement being put out by the Ministry of Defense, by the government, saying India remains fully prepared to defend its sovereignty and to ensure the safety of our people. And whatever steps need to be taken to protect our people, those steps will be taken. Some of these steps are very critical. The fact that Lahore has been targeted beyond Muridke is a very, very important step that is being made. Lahore being targeted is attacking the nerve center, the epicenter of terror, and India has hit the epicenter of terror in Lahore. I want to quickly, cut across to Amit Bharadwaj, my colleague who joins us for more on this big story. Amit, the fact that government has put out a statement is a very clear indication that right now the situation is such that if India carries out strikes like it has in Lahore, It's because Pakistan attempted to strike multiple cities in India and multiple military stations in India, including Jammu Kashmir, Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur. Udhampur is a very sensitive military location. The importance of Udhampur cannot be understated. Amit.
Right, Gaurav, right from the beginning of this trajectory, there is a Pahalgam terror attack. India carries out a very clinical attack on the terror bases within Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Pakistan. We did not attack any of their military bases or, for that matter, civilians during this clinical attack where the breeding grounds of terror were demolished and destroyed in POK as well as Pakistan. What did Pakistan resort to? In the middle of night, heavy shelling, heavy artillery in the around the LOC as well as major military establishment towns of India were on target of Pakistan missile, but we successfully thwarted those attempts, and Indian armed forces ensured that Pakistan fails in its every attempt to attack India's very prominent and strategic establishments, even for the artillery shelling that has been done, especially in Uri sector. The locals out there say that since 1998 they had not witnessed this kind of heavy artillery and shelling from Pakistan. But why was that being done? If you look at the target of this shelling, these were the prominent centers of our hydropower project. So clearly means that Pakistan is wanting to escalate this particular situation.
Oh, that's a very important statement. Hold on. You've made a very important statement, and I want you to elaborate on this. I want you to elaborate on it. Is there a threat to India's hydropower centers? Is that what Pakistan attempted to do?
Yes, Gaurav, you just need to decode what has been happening in the Uri sector because yesterday as well, in the middle of the night, you had heavy artilleries and shelling happening in the sector, which has not witnessed this for the past 2 decades. Why did Pakistan suddenly wake up to this situation and decided that we need to target these villages in Uri sector, Salamabad, as well as Gingal? We know for a matter of fact that these are very strategic locations where our hydropower projects are located, NHPC project is located, and for instance, Gingal village, where we now will have to believe, because we don't have a choice, the kind of artillery shelling that has been done in Gingal could be the civilians are collateral damage, and the major target could be the NHPC's second hydropower project, which is based there. And what we are given to understand, there could be damages within the compound as well, but we are waiting for that final official word coming from the officials as well. So clearly the agenda of Pakistani forces seems to be very clear. Right now, when we are speaking in the Uri sector, what we had witnessed through the evening is that heavy artillery and shelling is being done from across the border. Obviously, the blackout and other precautionary measures have been already carried out by the administration. I also need to put it out, Gaurav, that the administration was on its toe throughout the day when I was traveling across that sector, and the vulnerable villagers who live in these LOC villages. Obviously, we are not putting out the name of those villages right now. But
you're making a very important point, and I want Rajdeep to elaborate on it. Rajdeep, the government has now officially issued a statement, perhaps which gives the context of the strike that is taking place even as we speak in Lahore. Rajdeep,
let's go through that Ministry of Defense statement. Military stations at Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur were targeted by Pakistani origin drones and missiles along the international border in Jammu and Kashmir today. The threats were swiftly neutralized using kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities in line with established standard operating procedures. No casualties or material losses were reported. India remains fully prepared to defend its sovereignty and ensure the safety of its people. So that's a strong, clear message coming in from the Indian government, using kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities in line with established standard operating procedures. Give me the distinction, Gaurav, for our viewers between kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities that are used in situations like this.
Rajdeep, the kinetic means that are being used by our armed forces right now are the S-400 systems that are neutralizing the threat. The kinetic force that is being used is like the force that's currently being used in places like Lahore, where their entire air defense system was neutralized. But the places that they're mentioning, Rajdeep, if you look at the places, line 1 of that military statement, of the government statement, the military stations at Jammu, Pathankot and Udhampur, amongst the most important strategic assets are in this area. Udhampur, Rajdeep, as you well know, is a very important command structure of India. If Pakistan was attempting to strike at the command structure, what does this indicate? That if Pakistan is using either its F-16s or its JF-17 Thunders and using its AWACS command and control system to guide
would they have importantly crossed, therefore, into Indian airspace? Because until now,
yes,
the Pakistani Air Force had not crossed into Indian airspace. Are we presuming, whether it's the attack in Udhampur or their attempted attack in Jaisalmer, they crossed into Indian airspace?
So, Rajdeep, the nature of warfare has changed so much that with your BVRs or the beyond visual range missiles, you can hit a target almost 100 and 150 kilometers away or 200 kilometers away. It depends on the kind of BVRs that you have access to. And India and Pakistan both have access to these BVR missiles that can take an air-to-air or an air-to-ground target at much longer distances. You do not need to cross the LC or the international border or even come very close to it. The manner in which we have destroyed a lot of Pakistani assets, our fighters have stayed on our side and yet done the job that was given to them. So the nature of warfare is changing. The fact that your missiles are crossing the LC, the fact that your rockets are crossing the border is equally dangerous, if not more.
We still don't have details, though, and we will wait to see an official statement on how India has struck back. What we know for sure is India has ensured that there are no casualties or material losses that have been reported despite Pakistan's attempt to strike at bases in Jammu, in Udhampur and in Jaisalmer. Drones and missiles fired at the Udhampur base, clearly acts of provocation, pushing India up an escalatory spiral. Government of India making it clear India and the government is fully committed to defend the sovereignty of the country and ensure the safety of all Indians. Airports on high alert. Airports like Amritsar completely closed down now. The ministry issuing a formal brief statement on the Pakistani strikes at the moment. The big news, India has thwarted the Pakistani missile and drone attacks that were attempted at Jammu, Udhampur areas, Jaisalmer and areas in the Kashmir Valley. Those have been thwarted. The Pathankot air base was also targeted. That also has been not just thwarted, but importantly, 3 Pakistani planes have been shot down, including an F-16. And India has hit back at Pakistan, at Lahore. Details of that are still awaited. So that's the big story that's been building up. Our correspondents have fanned out late into the night into each and every corner where these attacks have taken place. We're being very careful not to identify locations in each instance and giving you deferred images to ensure the safety of those on the ground. Anmol Bali is with us. Also with us is Mir Farid in Srinagar. Shivani Sharma is still with us. Shivani, what are you picking up from your defense sources, particularly about how India now is responding to the Pakistani provocation when Pakistan fired these drones and missiles at Indian bases?
Rajdeep, we have a very big update for the viewers that not only the Indian Army and the Indian Air Force, but the Indian Navy is also at task as we speak. The operations are on, and Pakistan has tried to intrude into the Indian boundaries through the drones, and all those drones have been neutralized. But all the armed forces are together in a well-coordinated operation against this act of retaliation by Pakistan. The escalation that Pakistan is going ahead with, it is getting a befitting response from the armed forces of the country. And India was well prepared for this, Rajdeep, because when Operation Sindoor was being strategically prepared in Prime Minister Narendra Modi's monitoring. We've been seeing more than a dozen meetings happened that time, and this was under consideration. Then when Operation Sindoor happens, there will be a retaliation from Pakistan. So the response to this escalation was planned. So we are getting inputs that no casualty, no damage of property in all these locations where Pakistan has tried to hit India. There is no casualty reported, no loss of life has been reported. But it seems that Pakistan has been, in last 2 nights, testing the air defense systems of India. And that's what is happening. The umbrella, the shield over our skies is so strong that whatever coming in our aerial field is being neutralized. That's what we get to know. But along the line of control, the escalation from Pakistani side continues. There is heavy shelling that continues. The frequency of this shelling is very high this time. And ceasefire violations were there since last 14 days, but past 2 days have been seeing heavy artillery shelling. It continues not only in the Uri, Poonch, Tangdhar region, but also on a number of these sectors in the western border in Jammu and Kashmir, and also in Rajasthan, Rajdeep. So the situation is evolving. Every minute we are getting new updates, and what we are being told through the sources that tonight it's going to be a long operation, because Pakistan, remember there was a meeting in Pakistan right after what happened in India when the air bases were destroyed in Rawalpindi, Lahore and Sialkot. There was a meeting there, and what we got to the sources that Pakistan has given its armed forces to go all out on India, and that's why we were expecting, and the defense forces were expecting this kind of an action from Pakistan. All on high alert. Operation goes on successfully as per the defense forces. And Pakistan has been inflicted with heavy damages during this operation that still goes on. Rajdeep.
We're also told a Pakistan Air Force AWACS has been shot down inside Punjab province of Pakistan. So clearly Pakistan suffering heavy losses today. 3 of their fighter planes shot down by India. We'll get more details on where exactly that happened, and what is very clear, India has hit Lahore, and as I was speaking to Gaurav earlier, hitting Lahore carries more than just symbolic significance. This is the heartland of Punjabi Pakistan. This is Pakistan Punjab. This is the heartland of Pakistan's political capital. Chief Minister Maryam Sharif is the daughter of Nawaz Sharif. Shahbaz Sharif, former Chief Minister of Punjab, is the Prime Minister of the country. So hitting Lahore sends out a very strong signal to Pakistan that India means business this time. Operation not restricted to POK anymore. We saw this morning, India went into Sialkot, Rawalpindi, near the GHQ headquarters. There were drone attacks at the stadium in Rawalpindi. The Pakistan Super League has been pushed from Rawalpindi to Karachi, and now we've had reports of the attack in Lahore earlier today. Also, India making it clear in an official statement that they had neutralized air defense systems in Lahore. So Pakistan finding itself that every time it is trying to escalate, India is making sure that there is a measured and targeted response at those very places where Pakistan remains vulnerable. Importantly, to underline, Jammu, Udhampur, Pathankot bases are now safe. So the attempt that was made 2 hours ago has been kept under control. Gaurav.
Rajdeep, it's a very significant point. You see, India is not escalating, but when India is responding, there is an element of a punitive strike on Pakistan. When Pakistan targeted multiple locations, 15 locations it attempted to target across the country, that entire effort failed because India's air defense system is far superior, the S-400 system. And it's also integrated with the rest of our warfighting capabilities. That integration, network-centric warfare is the buzzword. It's very important. And India has been able to successfully achieve network-centric warfare to a very large extent, especially in the, if I may, and I'm sorry it's a little jargon, in MDO or multi-domain operations. You know, whether you're fighting a battle on land, in sea, undersea, in the air, in space and cyber. In all of this, if you look at India's efforts to fight an integrated battle, Pakistan does not come up anywhere close. And it's that mindset that we've had, that we permitted Pakistan to punch far above its weight. It's only now that Pakistan is realizing that if it uses its AWACS, it loses its AWACS. And losing an AWACS, Rajdeep, is one of the biggest setbacks for Pakistan Air Force, because now, in a way, it is blind. The AWACS is your airborne early warning command and control system. So it's early warning because it's in the sky at 35,000 or 40,000 feet, Rajdeep. It can look at the enemy skies for good 1,000 kilometers or 600 kilometers or 500 kilometers, depending on how powerful the radars are. Now that capability is not there. It can look at multiple targets and then guide the fighter planes to attack those targets. So it is your, you have an air vice marshal up in the sky who's guiding multiple wing commanders and squadron leaders and flight lieutenants in those fighter planes. That young blood, go after that target, go after that target, go after that target. Now they can't. They've lost their AWACS. They've lost 3 fighter planes. It's a huge setback for Pakistan. And now Lahore is under attack. We have to see what is under attack in Lahore. We'll probably know in a while. Their airborne early warning system is down. Colonel Rohit Dev is a defense expert. He was a part of a very important division at the line of control during a very critical phase. He joins us on the broadcast. Colonel Dev, if you were to do the battlefield analysis right now, what would your appreciation of the situation be?
Right. Gaurav, I've been through Jammu in an offensive planning parameter and also in Jaisalmer when we had that situation in Uri thereafter. And I think Pakistan is following the right steps as we anticipate, and that's the only good thing. The bad thing is that it's targeting still the civilian areas. So be it as may, our attack was very, very clear when we attacked those 9 places, and we attacked few places in Pakistan per se. And we made that kind of a, knowledge exchange over your show the last time. Now, coming to what's happening today, they tried to, flirt over the area of Jaisalmer. Was not from any other point of view because their strike corps there is not fully prepared to launch, right? Yes. So they tried to do something in Jaisalmer because there is a very strategic asset in Jaisalmer. No names, no specifications, but it has an eye over the Karachi port. So ever since in the Arabian Sea, our fleet has been there in the Navy, a naval fleet. We have a direct communication of picking up assets going around the Karachi port and that line of sight area which we have. So Pakistan was worried. But the only mistake they have made is that in Jammu area, because Pakistan has enough tiers of obstacle systems, they are a little more easy in terms of offensive from the Indian side. We are also a little more protected because our own so-called habitation areas are closer to the border. And we get enough time there where they go from the Shakargal Budge. They come up to Jammu, they go down through Kasur towards the areas of, the southern part into India. That's what we have to look at. But there is enough time to react. Here what the problem is, if the Indian side were to just shake up, the Arjun Brigade a little bit tomorrow morning, Pakistan will be in tatters because they do not know right from Bardmer to Pokhran. They don't have the advantage. Now, I will tell you the next escalation. Good point you make,
but I want to for a moment stay on the strategic aspect and not on the tactical operations or the brigade and div level operations that you're talking about for the moment, Rajdeep. It's the battlefield transparency, Rajdeep, which is now very critical. The fact that we are able to see across over hundreds of kilometers, that gives India the big advantage. It's a transparent battle.
What I'm trying to understand as a pure layman is how do you go up the escalatory ladder? And maybe you and Colonel Dev can explain that. We've had a situation, if you look at how things have panned out over the last few days, we have had India striking at terror infrastructure in Pakistan. The Pakistan response largely for the previous 2 days was artillery shelling across the LOC that led to the loss of innocent lives. Then Pakistan yesterday night, late last night, tried to use drones and missiles to target Indian areas across the border. India chooses this morning to respond by going right into the heartland of Punjab, Rawalpindi, Sialkot, Lahore, using our missiles and drones to target Pakistani air defense systems and neutralizing drones, particularly the one in Lahore, striking a stadium in Rawalpindi, not too far away from GHQ, Sialkot, where a number of terror bases are again located. That led today to Pakistan then trying to strike Jammu, Udhampur, Jaisalmer, Pathankot air bases, using again missiles and drones. India's response has been to get into Lahore once again, send out a message. What happens next? I want to understand, are we heading into a tit-for-tat retaliation, and how does it escalate? What happens next if, Colonel, yes, go ahead.
So it's not going to be a tit for tat in the future. We have identified the assets to be destroyed to do two things. Hit the war waging capability of Pakistan without entering Pakistan, whether it's from air or sea or from the indirect fire. We have these target lists prepared. So our response is going as per a target list for effect. The strategic change, which if you can correlate, being in media, is that 3 decades ago, when they used to hit Arnia, Jammu, and that area near Ratnochak, Kalushak without impunity, we used to just go to the talking table, drawing boards, and things like that with Pakistan. What has changed is we have decided that if you hit our civilian assets, we will hit your civilian assets as well. I don't know if you know. Something else happened even last night in a border area of Pakistan. Let's see if they talk about it, because we are not going to talk about it. We are very, very clear.
The point, Colonel Dev, Colonel Dev, what I gave you the chronology of where we've reached at the moment.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What happens next? Is the ball now, in a sense, in Pakistan's court? Every time Pakistan has tried to escalate, every time Pakistan has tried to escalate, we've hit back. Do we now go and take preemptive action? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I'm saying exactly that. So once you initiate the game, you don't have control. Just because you are thinking that they are doing something and we are reacting is the narrative which is built around currently, in the system. You may be surprised that we are doing more than that. We are doing proactively, and that is not to be disclosed. So the narrative building is around a reactive model. But tomorrow, if it is going to escalate anywhere else, Karachi is a given target area. There are targets area of strategic interest which will be destroyed. And that is the way it's going to follow. And
so you're saying targeted specific assets could follow,
Absolutely.
but that's of course in the future. Let's get back.
It's already happening, Rajdeep.
But let's get back.
It's happening.
Rajdeep,
it's happening.
Colonel, give me a moment. Colonel, give me a moment. From what my sources
give me
are
an
telling
example.
Me, Colonel may know better. To the best of my knowledge, India hasn't targeted any civilian area in Pakistan. To the best of my knowledge. Point one. Point two, if I may. India is destroying Pakistan's war-waging capabilities. How? Pakistan's air defense system, especially their HQ-16s, their LV-80 or Lahore's air defense system. Rajdeep, it costs a whopping 1,800 crore rupees a battery. One destroying Lahore's air defense system puts Pakistan back by 1,800 crore rupees. Do they have that kind of money? They don't. Can they replenish it? They cannot. And that's not the only one that's been destroyed, Rajdeep. If you're losing an F-16, do you think America will give you another F-16? They will not give Pakistan another F-16. If their AWACS is gone, they're not getting another AWACS. So their war-waging capability is being destroyed.
Okay. Let me go to Amit Bhardwaj, joining us on the ground. In much tougher circumstances. Amit, you're in one of the border areas. You've been telling us there have been blackouts for the last few hours. When you heard explosions till a couple of hours ago. What are you picking up now, Amit, where you are?
Well, Rajiv, as far as the blackouts are concerned, right from Srinagar to Baramulla to the Uri sector, all of it is complete blackout right now. Even the hotel establishments in Srinagar do not have, permission to give the power backup or power supply, and that's the situation right now. And all of this is happening in Srinagar as a precautionary measure. But when we speak about Baramulla or areas uphill towards Uri sector, that's more of because of the heavy artillery and shelling that's happening. What we can also tell our viewers is that not only the areas that were targeted by the Pakistani forces, the cowardly attack on the civilians that had happened in Uri sector, Pir Panjal range, the area has increased this night, and Kamalkot is the area where heavy artillery shelling is happening, and this the target seems to be the common civilians at this point in time. And remember, this area of Pir Panjal for the longest time had not witnessed this kind of artillery and shelling. At least that's what the civilians out here say, that for the past 2 decades they have not witnessed this kind of artillery shelling or shellings or mortars coming from the other side of the border. But this appears to be a cowardly act from the Pakistani establishment, because they also know that these are the civilian areas, and for the longest time there has been understanding between India and Pakistan both that they would not be violating the ceasefire CFVs in this particular area. But despite that, unprovoked artillery shelling and artillery
is that artillery?
right now.
Is that artillery shelling still continuing, or has the artillery shelling stopped? A quick answer.
Well, Razdeep, in the area of Kamal Court right now, shelling is heavy. That's what we can tell our viewers right now. The agencies are responding to this situation. But as far as the other villages in Uri sector are concerned, many of these villages were already evacuated, and the villagers were brought to Baramulla city for their safety.
Right.
Back to you.
Let me go to Anmol Bali, who's also there amidst darkness. Anmol, what are you picking up at the moment? Area again, complete blackout across all the border areas of the country. We are also reporting that schools and colleges in Chandigarh will be closed. Airports of Chandigarh, Amritsar among those being closed. What are you picking up, Anmol?
Rather, basically, various state governments as the central government has taken precautionary measures, like all the schools in the bordering districts with the Pakistan border have been asked to go close or to go on off. We are here in the Pathankot and it's totally blackout, not only in the Pathankot but Gurdaspur, Amritsar and other various bordering districts are having, we are seeing same kind of visuals, totally blackout. And earlier, around half an hour ago, we saw heavy blast coming from the army area from where we are standing few steps away, and even I'll show you in the visual that Punjab police persons are also on the ground. They are monitoring the situation. They are here in the civilian area. I'll show you in the visual. Punjab police personnel are here on the ground. They're talking with the people and they're asking people to switch off the light of their motorbikes, cars, because a whole blackout situation has been imposed by the state governments. They have asked to cancel the leave of state government, Haryana, Punjab, Rajasthan. They have cancelled the leave of the employees, those who were on leave, and even they have called the government employees on the leave back to the work.
We are seeing both northern and western India complete blackouts in large parts of northern and western India at the moment, particularly in the border areas. Government wanting to take no chances at the moment. But the good news, Jammu, Udhampur, Pathankot bases safe. No casualties or material losses to India at all. So despite Pakistan's attempt to once again take us up an escalatory spiral, India has sent a firm response today. 3 Pakistani planes have been shot down, including 2 J-17s and F-16s and 1 F-16. And India has thwarted Pakistan's missile and drone attacks and responded in kind by striking Lahore. And I think that distinction needs to be drawn between Pakistan attempting to strike a Jammu, Udhampur, Pathankot, India going right into Pakistan, Punjab, into Lahore, Rawalpindi and Sialkot this morning, and now striking back once again at Lahore. So the vulnerability of Lahore is something which India is exposing right through its Operation Sindoor. India making it very clear we are fully prepared to defend the country's sovereignty. Yes, there have been back-channel talks that are taking place. Dr. Jaishankar has spoken to the US Secretary of State and NSA, Marco Rubio, who's also dialed up Pakistan's Prime Minister, Shahbaz Sharif. We'll also go to the newsroom in a moment because a lot of people, Gaurav, are asking if they have flights to take in the next 48 hours. If I have an overseas flight, I want to go to San Francisco on an Air India flight, or I want to take a flight to any of the northern cities of the country, is it safe for me to take that flight at the moment or not?
So as of now, unless that airport is shut, the airspace is open in our country.
So I can take a New Delhi to San Francisco flight?
Well, the New Delhi to San Francisco flight anyway goes to Gujarat first, flies over the Arabian Sea, and then goes into a safe zone, unless, of course, you're flying a non-Indian flag carrier. Pakistan, of course, has closed its airspace to flights from India, Indian flag flights or Indian-operated flights.
So while the airports are on high alert, the only airports that have been closed are largely those in the border areas. Am I correct?
You're absolutely right, Rajdeep. Airspace remains open, but it's a very dynamic situation because in case Pakistan attempts to escalate again, and the manner in which Pakistan has attempted to escalate is not restricted to Jammu and Kashmir or Punjab. It's all across from Jammu, Kashmir, Punjab to Rajasthan and Gujarat. And we do not know, the night is still, it's not yet midnight. Last night their attempt was at 1 in the morning. India's response happened early in the morning, in fact in full broad daylight. And that's another point, Rajdeep. India is so confident of the manner in which we have air superiority right now. I'm saying air superiority and not air supremacy, that you're able to take a decision to strike even in broad daylight.
Okay, there's no decision on shutting down airports across the country. I think that needs to be reiterated because there was panic that airports across India were being shut down. It's only Amritsar, Chandigarh, Srinagar, where the airports have been closed. The border areas.
Close to the border areas and areas that Pakistan has attempted to target.
Okay.
And if it were to escalate and attempt to target, let's say, a Mumbai or a Delhi, because that is, look, these cities are absolutely safe. Pakistan may want to risk that escalation, but the cost for Pakistan will be so immense, Rajdeep, that Pakistan, again, you know, while he's a jihadi general and he's very unreasonable, but jihadi generals want to give that image that they are jihadi general. They're very reasonable when they see that they've been overwhelmed. Pervez Musharraf thought he'll get away with Kargil, but when he realized that hundreds of his soldiers were being killed on the Kargil heights, he sent Nawaz Sharif to America to sue for peace and let America play the mediator role. Right now, we are also told there's been a blast in Peshawar in Pakistan, Rajdeep.
Okay.
So there's been a blast in Peshawar. We were told that there was a situation that happened even in Balochistan yesterday. And look at this information, Rajdeep. It's a big story on the Pakistani AWACS, that Air Force Airborne Early Warning Command and Control System being shot down. We are getting you inside details of how big a damage this is for Pakistan.
And the other big story, of course, coming is that not only has Lahore been struck, but now there's a blast in Peshawar. Now, the significance of that is that this has been a traditionally volatile area in the Northwest Frontier Province. And what we've seen in Peshawar in recent times, a lot of local militias in Pakistan have claimed responsibility for targeting Peshawar. These are remnants of the Afghan war. The Tehreek-e-Taliban, Pakistan has struggled to deal with its local militias within. What we are now getting to understand is that there has been a blast in Peshawar. Pakistan's attempt in a way to target India forgets the fact that Pakistan itself has found enormous turbulence both in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, or what was NWFP at one time, and indeed in Balochistan as well. So Pakistan missile and drone attacks have failed. Their projectiles have missed their target. India has suffered no material damage in the last couple of hours. India instead has hit Lahore, downed an air warning system. 3 Pakistani planes, including 2 J-17s and 1 F-16, have been downed. And we await more details of what the nature of damage Pakistan has suffered in Lahore. We've been very careful not to reveal operational details at any stage. All we are saying is the big picture. But the blast in Peshawar, reported in a short while ago, more details are awaited. Remember, I keep repeating, Peshawar has been one of the more turbulent areas of Pakistan. So you can see how Pakistan is slowly getting boxed in when their major cities find themselves in turbulence. Lahore, Rawalpindi, Sialkot, now reports coming in of a blast being reported from Peshawar at the moment.
And anyways vulnerable in Balochistan.
And you're vulnerable in Balochistan. Karachi, of course, is Pakistan's commercial capital, and that is the one city which Pakistan will now be worried about, because remember, Pakistan has tried to sort of, in a way, try and suggest that India has not shaken it, but clearly what happened, particularly in Rawalpindi earlier today, has shaken the Pakistani military establishment. Gaurav.
You're absolutely right, Rajdeep, and this was Pakistan's Achilles heel. You know, the Pashtuns, they have a Pashtun Talaffuz movement. They have a freedom struggle that's going on in Pashtunistan, is what they seek in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. The Afghans, the Taliban, they dislike the Pakistanis immensely, and especially after over a lakh of Afghans who were living in Pakistan were so rudely sent back to Afghanistan. So Pakistan's Achilles heel is actually Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan. The 2,600 kilometer long Durand line, Rajdeep, is burning so bad that and is likely to burn so bad. We have Air Vice Marshal Manmohan Bahadur joining us on this special broadcast. Sir, as always, welcome. Colonel Rohit Dev stays with us on this broadcast. Air Marshal Bahadur, I want to understand from you, there are reports of massive losses for Pakistan in the air, from an AWACS to fighter planes. How would you assess these reports that are coming in, sir?
If this is true, then it is exceptionally good news, especially the one on the AWNC, because that's the heart of the air defense of any unit or of any country. So if an AWNC has been brought down, that's a very, very big loss. I just hope these reports are correct. As also the 3 fighters which have come down, the F-16, a very, very big symbolic value because that's sort of revered by the Pakistan Air Force. So let's see, and I'm quite sure very soon we should be having pictures of that. And when you have such big losses, then obviously a rethink comes in, especially with the loss of an AWNC. Of how.
So for the benefit of our viewers, because everyone on the broadcast is looking at that piece of information very closely, loss of an AWACS or the, as you put it, airborne early warning command and control system. For the benefit of our viewers, can you explain to us what this very important platform does, the eyes in the sky, how does it operate and what it means for the battlefield scenario for Pakistan, for their Air Force?
Okay, we need to be sure whether it's an AEWNC or an AWACS. The AWACS gives you a full 360-degree coverage, whereas the AEWNC has a swordfish radar. So there is a little gap at the tail and at the nose. But that's covered by the way the aircraft flies. Now, that's an airborne control system. When, for example, when we talk of our integrated air command and control system, IACCS, that integrates the AWACS also on it. But the AWACS by itself becomes a node. It carries with it fighter controllers on board and a mission. These are mission specialists, and there is a commander, an air defense commander who visualizes what's happening on the radar screens in front of him. He gets inputs. He's got communications with aircraft in the air as well as with Air Force stations. So it's a flying control bed. If that is lost, gap comes in.
So they are going to be blind in the sky for that bigger picture of the battlefield. It's like Dhritarashtra cannot be told what the battlefield is if he doesn't know where is Sanjay. And now Pakistan has lost its Sanjay, Colonel Rohit Dev. Dhritarashtra was blind. Pakistan is now double blind in a way because they have no Sanjay left. Their fighter jets will be up in the sky. They won't have the bigger picture, Colonel Dev.
Who said that their fighter jets will be in the sky? They will be caught while climbing the sky. Just imagine, Gaurav, take 13 days with all the sound after the dastardly attack. They went on red alert. They mobilized their forces. They put their best weapons and best EW and best AD in their major cities to guard them. Can they guard?
Rajnath, very significant point. If the best protected city, Lahore, is so vulnerable, it just shows you how hollow the Pakistani system is.
You see, what I think we are seeing in the last 48 hours clearly is Pakistan has resorted to very much the conventional way of taking on India, artillery shelling across the LOC, trying to believe that that is the muh-tod jawab that they'll give. Unfortunately, killing civilians. I mean, you just have to contrast.
16
I think you've got to contrast the pinpoint targeted attacks on places like Murid Ke, on Bawalpur, where the Jaish-e-Mohammed and the Lashkar-e-Toiba have their headquarters. I remember going to Murid Ke and, meeting some of the Lashkar leaders many, many years ago. And it was all, Hafiz Saeed wasn't there at that time, but they were all, it was all out in the open. I met Sayyid Salahuddin at the Hizbul Mujahideen headquarters in Rawalpindi, barely a couple of kilometers away from the GHQ. So it was all in the open. It was all, and this is of course...
And a couple of kilometers from GHQ, Sayyid Salahuddin was operating.
That's right. And this was all a little before 9/11 happened. 9/11 happened, opened up again a can of worms, showed as the Al-Qaeda operations took place, partly partly existed in Pakistan and partly across the border. And there were Pakistani news agencies that were willing to take you to meet Osama bin Laden. I'm talking just before 9/11, charging you a fee for that. So it was all very open. Pakistan's involvement, sponsoring, financing and arming of these terror groups for decades has taken place in the open. In the past, whenever, after Balakot, there was an element of deniability that the Pakistanis could resort to, claiming nothing has been hit. Now what you found is there is enough evidence in the funerals taking place, the Lashkar command. To me, the graphic example of how Pakistan has turned into a failed rogue state is to watch the Lashkar commander's funeral taking place, led by another Lashkar commander, and the entire police and military brass is present, and wreaths in honor of that terrorist are placed there. So clearly by the Pakistani army leadership and the Pakistani army chief. So I think what this has done is fully exposed in a way Pakistan's involvement with terror groups. And I think that's significant. I want to go to Sunil Bhatt. Sunilji Bhatt has had a very, very difficult evening. I can tell anyone who's gone through it that what Sunilji has gone through cannot be easy. He was for a long time in a bunker, with explosions taking place around him. He's moved now to a safer spot in Jammu. But Sunil, what do you want to tell us?
Rajdeep, there is blackout in more areas now. Earlier, electricity supply had been restored, but now we are witnessing blackout again in many parts of Jammu city. And what we are learning from our sources is that it has been done as a precautionary measure. People have been advised again by the administration, by the civil defense volunteers, that people should confine themselves to their homes. They should not venture out. They should not panic. There are agencies of the government who are at the service of the people, and helpline numbers are also there. They can contact the administration, but people are having a very difficult time. People are in panic, and people feel that a full-fledged war has broken out. And since there is electricity supply was cut off, so rumors also started doing the rounds. So it created more panic and more fear in people, although now there is some semblance of normalcy as far as civilian areas are concerned in Jammu city, because people now feel that there are not going to be any explosions or any blasts, because we have been successful to foil the nefarious designs of the enemy. Pakistan tried to target the Jammu airport, other defense installations in Udhampur and in the neighboring state of Punjab, but our air defense system was already activated. The Sudarshan Chakra was activated, and we were successful in foiling the nefarious designs of the enemy. And now our air warriors are hitting Pakistan very hard. A befitting reply is being given to Pakistan, because it's Pakistan who is now escalating the matters, and we can't remain silent. We will give a befitting reply to Pakistan. But the people, particularly Rajdeep, who are living near the line of control and India-Pakistan international border, they are having a very, very difficult time, because they are facing the brunt of Pakistani shelling. Already we have lost so many lives in Poonch district of Jammu and Kashmir. Many people have been injured. They are battling for their lives in different hospitals, and people have also fled their homes. This has also triggered an exodus from border villages. Administration has also evacuated many people. Relief camps have been set up. People have been given shelter there. They are being provided all kinds of facilities there. So administration has swung into action, and all precautionary measures are being taken, and all agencies of the government are on alert mode, and they are ready to meet any kind of eventuality. People have been advised that they should not panic. There are helpline numbers. They can contact the administration if they need any kind of help. Rajdeep, back to you.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you, Gaurav, interesting, the Sudarshan Chakra. Can you explain the Sudarshan Chakra to our viewers?
So, Yogeshwar Sri Krishna, Bhagwan Krishna had a Sudarshan Chakra. And as you know that story of Shishupal, Shishupal had committed 100 sins, and Yogeshwar Sri Krishna would forgive him each time because he was a relative. It was only after that 100th sin that he used the Sudarshan Chakra, killed him, and the Sudarshan Chakra came back to him. And it's said usually the Sudarshan Chakra is the most potent weapon that you have. India's S-400 system, as AVM Bahadur will tell us better, is a very potent weapon platform. It's again the best in the world. And this
Explain
is
what it does.
It's a
Explain to us
missile
what it
defense
does.
shield.
It's a missile defense shield.
And it's road mobile. It's based on trucks. It's a Russian origin. It has these canisters that have the missiles in them. It has a radar system. It has a command and control system. Now, those radars, Rajdeep, they scan across a very wide area. They can look at multiple incoming threats, and they can destroy them at various distances, 400 kilometers away, 200 kilometers away, and even 50 kilometers away. That's not all.
Purely indigenously made?
No, made in Russia. 100% made in Russia. Very expensive. It's, I think, 39,000 crores.